Kelly Lardin, and this is my assistant Hummingbird. Today we're going to be demonstrating a St. Patrick's Day stained glass shamrock craft, and we'll show you two different versions for this, one using a thermal laminator and another using self-laminating sheets. The supplies you'll need for this craft are a shamrock template, a laminating sheet or two self-laminating sheets, single-sided, a black marker, green tissue paper cut up into small shapes, the exact size doesn't matter, an icon of the Holy Trinity and an icon of St. Patrick. You'll also need scissors and, if you'd like, a paper cutter. And you'll need a hole punch and a length of green yarn or other string or ribbon. And finally, if you're doing the thermal version of this craft, you'll need your laminator and carrying case. The first step is to trace the shamrock onto your laminating sheet. After you trace it on one side, then you'll want to flip it over and trace the opposite side of your laminating sheet as well, so that you can have an outline on both sides of the shamrock. Next, you'll want to cut out your two icons. Once your icons are cut out, open your laminating sheets and let the top lay flat back. Next, you'll put one of your icons face down on the page, and then you'll start filling in with green tissue paper all around it. You want to fill in the shamrock. If the green tissue paper goes outside the lines, it's okay. And on this, the laminating sheets can be a little bit staticky, so you may find paper flying and clinging all over the place. At the very end, we'll be able to do a little bit of rearranging to keep things in place. As you're placing your green tissue paper, it should overlap in spots. You can use large or small tissue paper for this. If you use smaller pieces, you'll have more overlaps and texturing. Large pieces will be a little bit quicker to fill with, so you can choose your style. Once all of your green tissue paper is covering the shamrock, place the second icon face up over the first, and then close your top layer of your laminating sheet over it. It's going to be a little staticky, so if your pieces move around and you see spots that are not covered with green anymore, you can readjust your sheets as necessary. And after this, we'll put our laminated shamrock into the carry case. Open the carry case first and carefully insert it so that your pieces don't fall out. And once your laminator is ready, you'll then simply feed this through. Once you've run your shamrock through the laminator, you can begin to cut it out, following along the lines that you've traced. If your child is a little nervous about this, or if she has trouble getting around the inner edges, then this may be a step where you might need to help. If your icon is partially covered by the tracing, then cut up to the icon, but don't cut into it. And as you get to the top of the shamrock, rather than following your lines for the small dip, cut straight across the 2 points, leaving yourself a little space to put a hole for hanging this. Once you've cut the shamrock out, then punch a hole in the top where you've left a little excess space. And this may be a little difficult going through the laminating sheet, so an adult may need to help. Once you've poked your hole, feed your string through the hole and then tie a knot. And you can hang this from any sunny window.
Or a tree in warm weather.
And I recommend, though, only hanging this in direct sunlight for the week of the feast. If you hang it too long, the tissue paper will start to fade as it's bleached by the sun. So after the feast has passed, find a darker, shadier spot.
Ta-da!
For the self-laminating method, after you trace the shamrock onto one of the self-laminating sheets, you'll peel the back off and place it sticky side up on your work surface. This is probably best for the adult to do. Then you'll take one of your icons and place it face down in the center of your shamrock. Face down. Be very careful how you do this because once it's on, you probably will not be able to get it off again. Place green tissue paper all around within the lines of the shamrock.
Mommy.
This is sticky if you're doing the self-laminating method, although it should be a little bit easier for little kids to do this method. After you've filled in the area of the shamrock with tissue paper and your icon, put the sheet, the backing, back onto the sheet. Next, you'll cut out the shamrock along your lines, and we've put the paper back on it to try to make it easier to cut because the stickiness makes it sort of difficult, especially if you're letting your child do the cutting. If an adult is doing the cutting, you don't necessarily need to put the paper back on. If it's a little difficult to maneuver and cut, help your child with some of the corner pieces. You might help hold the sheet or actually do the little corners for her. Do you want me to do that? Because some of the corners can be a little tricky getting in there. And as you get to the top of your shamrock, leave a little space above for poking a hole to hang it. So cut straight across, Sarah. After you've cut out the first piece of your shamrock here, you'll lay your second icon face up on top of the first. And then a parent will need to help with this next step. Peel off the backing from your second sheet of laminating paper and very carefully place it on top of the first.
I'll put it on in the
and
laminator.
Press down to pull out any wrinkles. And indeed, you may want to put your paper backing back down for this step so that it doesn't stick
onto the
to your table. And wipe the wrinkles as much as you can.
Mommy,
and then we'll cut this out the same way we did the first. So we're going to cut this the same way we did the second one. This time try to stay close, very close to your edge, and a parent should probably do this so that we don't have any of the sticky part showing over. And you may even trim off a little bitty bit of excess.
You need
to ensure that that stickiness isn't there. Once you've gotten the entire shamrock cut out, the rest of the steps for this method are identical to the thermal laminating method.
Voila! This is what your project will look like when it's finished.